Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where this week I've been daily driving this 2025 Mercedes-Benz G550, the G Wagon. I know you guys have been asking for more base model vehicles, and this $180,000 G550 is actually the entry level for the G-Class in 2025. Jokes aside though, this is actually quite a bit different than the outgoing 2024 model. I know exterior-wise it looks exactly the same as it has for the last 50 years or however long this has existed, but we no longer have the 4-liter bi-turbo V8 in the base G550. It does still exist in the G63, but this one has a 3-liter turbocharged inline-6 with a 48-volt mild hybrid system. Combined power output 443 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque. And when I first heard this news, I was a bit distraught because I always kind of associated G-Wagons with V8s or even V12s. I feel like they made a G65 AMG some years ago. But now that I've kind of thought about it a bit more, I don't think this is really sacrilege. G-Wagons have existed with 4, 5, and 6 cylinders globally for years. We just haven't really had them in America. And also, I feel like if you're buying a base model G550, you may not super care about what's under the hood, and especially since the G63 does still exist. Obviously, some of that G-Wagon soul is going to be gone, of course, even in base form. It was nice to have that 4-liter V8, but I've had no issues with this inline-6 this week. I think it fits the platform just fine, and I'm excited to show you guys what it's like to live with today. It's looking properly Arctic. We're following up our biggest snowstorm of the year so far. The G-Wagon is covered in salt, as are the roads. We're running on snow tires today. These are a Michelin Pilot Alpine 5 SUV snow tire in a 275/50 R20 squared setup, and a pretty impressive snow tire. Honestly, we'll show you how it takes a corner in just a little bit, but I want to talk about the car that we have here in front of us. So I mentioned a second ago, 180 grand, that is accurate for this particular car. Starts at 151,000. This one has 30 grand in options, including the platinum Magno exterior paint color. Magno being Mercedes-Benz's way of saying matte. I think it looks nice in this configuration, and I do like kind of a muted color on a G-Wagon, though I do still think my favorite is China Blue, which you can actually still get in 2025. This has a Bengal red exclusive Manufaktur interior. Lots of Manufaktur options going on with this, contributing to the $30,000 in options, and you can still go crazy speccing out a G-Wagon, which I do very much love. So let's poke around this real quick. I want to get out of the cold, and honestly, if you guys know G-Wagons, I mean, this is going to be pretty redundant because not a whole lot has changed. The biggest news here for this 25 revision is this little strip of black that goes around the windshield. Now, this is a bit of a front spoiler to make this a bit more aerodynamic and a bit quieter while you're driving. G-Wagons of years past have been quite loud on the highway, and this one is still not super quiet, but it does make it easier for you to talk to your passenger without having to shout. So they've done a bit of aero work on the front. Otherwise, not too much has changed. One of my favorite parts about this G-Wagon is just opening the doors and slamming them. We have this privacy shade here in the back covering up our beautiful wood trunk floor. And from what I could tell, this just comes in it. If you're an expert on these G-Wagons, you can correct me or validate me in the comments, but I didn't see any option on the configurator to add this in. So either it's a part of our $13,000 exclusive Manufaktur interior option pack, or it is just standard. I think this is very, very cool, and it kind of goes with the European luxury aura, I don't know, that's not the right word, vibe of this car. I just think it would get scratched up really easily, so you'd probably want to put some sort of cover or PPF, not PPF, wood protect, WPF on this. I don't even know what I'm saying, but pretty good amount of room back here. I don't know if you're really using your G-Wagon to haul things, as obviously the G-Wagon started out as a military vehicle, but now it is just the biggest status symbol for people to drive up and down Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills with their little lapdog in the passenger seat in a purse. But it is still a cool thing. I like driving these, and they're pretty rare to see here in Michigan. So it is a bit more special here than it is in Los Angeles. In the back seat, we have what I think is the most ridiculous option you can spec onto the G Wagon, and that is the $3,000 rear entertainment package. A little bit of a sneak peek here at our graphical goodies. Today is actually Valentine's Day. Don't worry, Emily's at work. I'm not leaving her home alone to shoot my G Wagon video, but we have these little hard eyes on our user profile here in the back seat. You can see that here. So there's rose petals, there's hard eyes everywhere today. So I think it's cool that Mercedes kind of adds those little things. But apart from that, this rear entertainment package is very, very silly. I know this is a high-end luxury vehicle, but I don't really think executive when I think G-Wagon. So this is just a little bit out of place back here. Also, G-Wagons are not that big. I feel like people kind of have this common misconception that G-Wagons are massive. They're very tall, but they're not very wide and they're not very long. So this back seat, while I do have plenty of room, isn't really that huge. So this screen is a little bit too much in my face. It's kind of making me feel a bit claustrophobic. I don't know if these come off. Yeah, they definitely come off. So if you don't want to use them, it looks like you can take them off pretty easily, but just save the $3,000 and don't spec them on. Fold down armrest with some cup holders. We have a climate panel back here. We have a bunch of USB-C ports down at the floor. Very minimal drivetrain hump and pretty usable middle seat. I think you could carry 3 adults back here with no problem, 2 very comfortably. And lots of very nice trimmings. As I said, we have the $13,000 sort of extended leather going on in here with this, I keep forgetting what the name of this red color is called. Bengal red, because Bengal's a cat and it's not red. That's why I'm having trouble remembering it. But anyway, lots of quilted leather going on. Looks quite nice. These headrests fold up and down to help you with seeing out of the back. You can kind of stow them, which is nice. Oh, that is just... Hear it echo off this building. Listen. That is the best. We have a little G on our door button. And the weirdest thing about this car, nope, that wasn't hard enough. You gotta really put your back into it. But the funniest thing here, actually, every 2025 G-Wagon is supposed to come with keyless entry, which means when you lock it, you're supposed to be able to walk up to it, stick your hand in the door, and be able to get in like any other 2025 car. But for some reason, this one doesn't have it. And there's actually a credit on the window sticker because for some reason the comfort package, which is supposed to be standard, has been left off on this car. I don't know what the reasoning is for that. If there's some kind of Mercedes or G-Wagon expert in the comments, you can let me know. But I've been having to use my key fob this week to get in. Let's pop the hood and show you this 3-liter Inline-6. That is very odd to say for me for a G-Wagon. I've only ever driven V8 G-Wagons up to this point. And there you go, 6-cylinder. Not really too much to see. Kind of just all exists under a big plastic engine cover. We do at least have hood struts. Could you imagine if we didn't have hood struts? Question is, does the hood shut with the same authority that the doors do? Oh yeah, very much so. This one has allegedly the night package Magno, which is supposed to kind of black out a lot of our exterior fittings. It does say that it has it on the window sticker, but many things are missing. And I have noticed quite a bit of inconsistency with these night packages on press cars. It says that it has it on the window sticker, but then half the blacked out components are missing. Our running boards are not black. Our G550 badge is not black, but we do have the black surround on our spare tire. So I don't really know what's going on with this. Maybe someone can explain that to me as well. But okay, I've had enough of the cold. Let's jump in. Let's go for a drive. We're going to drive this to downtown. We'll stop at the store, as that is, I mean, people just use these as daily drivers. Lots of off-road tech in here, but how often is that actually used? How many people are off-roading their $200,000 Mercedes SUV? I'm not really too sure, but I'm going to lose the jacket real quick, and then we're going to go for a drive. Normally I take this off while I'm in the car, but I wanted another excuse today to open the door one more time. Oh yeah. There's no handle in here to pull yourself in. We do have this one right here, but it is a bit awkward to use this. It is leather wrapped. It is actually an option to have all of your grab handles wrapped in leather. I'll put all the specs down in the description so you guys can see what all this has. But I'm going to try and warm up here for a second, get my brain back functioning, and then we'll go for a drive. See, it's charming me with rose petals. The Inline-6 comes to life very gracefully, obviously, with that 48-volt mild hybrid system. There is no starter noise. To activate our heated steering wheel, we actually have this little rotating switch on the end of our power adjust steering switch. Heated seats exist here on the door panel, as they do with any Mercedes-Benz product. We also have ventilated seats you can heat and cool at the same time. 3 memory seat settings. We have a physical headlight switch over here, tons of carbon fiber. This is a $3,000 option to get this carbon fiber trim inside. Manufaktur badge on our passenger grab handle. I do love to see that. I like that they show you appreciation, that you have put on some special options. It's nice to be reminded of that. Alcantara headliner, standard Burmester sound system, which you know we will be testing out today. We have a moonroof in this car with a manual shade. I like to see that. Being that this G550 is an AMG line, we should actually have a sport steering wheel with a flat bottom, but this one has been specially optioned with a round two-tone Bengal red and black heated steering wheel, which I do actually very much appreciate. I think it matches all of the other red, spruces things up a bit in here. And we have a leather-wrapped airbag cover, which is something that you don't get on many Mercedes products anymore. Even the $200,000 SL63 I was driving last year had a black plastic molded airbag cover, so nice to see that in here. Otherwise, kind of old school. We still have a touchpad for our MBUX infotainment system. We have a physical button for our drive modes down here. No steering wheel selectors like you'd see on an AMG product. I'm sure the G63 has those. Physical volume slider down here as well. And we have all of our off-road controls here in the middle. You can push this M button to put yourself into manual gear shifting mode. All of your diff locks, front, rear, and center all exist right here. Physical buttons, love to see it. I think it's so funny how this is so just like front and center in this G Wagon, all of your off-road controls. I guess it kind of adds to the off-roady vibe of this. That's what they're trying to go for, reminding you that even if you don't take this off-road, you have the option to. This infotainment works pretty much the same as any other Mercedes infotainment does, but we have a couple extra goodies in the off-road menu, being that this is a G Wagon. You can add off-road tracks. I think that's very cool. All of our options today have rose petals on them. That's so fun. Glad I'm filming this on a holiday. You can show off all of the tech. Okay, I could sit here all day showing you all the things that this can do from a technology point, but I just want to get this out on the road and show you what it's like to daily drive. Little cubby here, cup holders, place to put my phone, even the button to open the split folding armrest. Kind of sounds like a G Wagon door. So appreciate that. All right, let's get this out on the road. 360 camera, really nice quality. Central locking going up there. Hope that nobody is sleeping in your car when you go to take off. That will promptly wake them up, but I love it. I love all of the ka-thunks that this car makes. And I love that all these years later, Mercedes has kept that. I think that's really important because it would be very easy for them to put soft closed doors on a G Wagon or just, quiet things down to try and play to the luxury-esque nature of this car. But I love that the roots of this are still very rugged. It makes me quite happy. AMG Line also gives us a sport exhaust system, and this does have side pipes. So the exhaust comes out right by the rear door, so plenty of noise. And I think the Inline-6 actually sounds pretty good. I'll give you a taste of that here. Honestly, like the perfect volume level. Inline-6s are just so silky and smooth. I do love this 3-liter unit from Mercedes. It's been a few years now this has been in production, and I'm a pretty big fan. I didn't think they'd ever stuff it in the G Wagon, but it fits here just fine. Let's actually put this into sport mode for this next section. Really fast gear changes from this 9-speed automatic transmission. Of course, this is all-wheel drive. Things that should go without saying. We can take manual control very easily here. Green arrow. Lots of limitation there from stability control, stopping me from slipping around that corner. Very light steering, even in sport mode. And this G Wagon is not really meant to be driven quickly like this around corners. That's not what it's built for, but it can hang. I mean, this is properly quick. Take us back out of manual. Let this shift its own gears. Throttle response, brake pedal feel, all telepathic. You're never questioning anything. You don't have jerky takeoffs. Very smooth shifts from the 9-speed automatic. Sport mode stiffens up these adaptive dampers a bit, but you do still have some body roll going on, of course. All right, let's see what these Michelins can do around a corner. Stability control is just killing any power there. It is really quick. It's so funny to me how modern G-Wagons can perform like this. Plenty of torque coming out of that corner. Even though we were a bit limited by stability control, I mean, this chassis, you can tell, has been brought up to modern times. We have independent front suspension, obviously. And it honestly, it handles great for what it is. Suspect that was flat out. There you go. We do have the opportunity to recreate one of those Russian videos where all the G-Wagons are chasing the E-classes through downtown. But we'll hold off. We'll let them go that way, and we'll get on the highway, and we'll talk about what this is like to daily drive, what it's like to sit in, and we'll see if this newly added aero really has made this much quieter than the outgoing model. Actually, we're already going 70, and yeah, I mean, you can carry a conversation here, no problem. I don't have to shout. It's quiet, Grindelwagen. Oh, dearie me. What in the world? Many of semis today. We're actually going to sneak behind this one. Lots of passing power, good response from this 9-speed as far as kickdown. I'm just really satisfied with all the dynamics of this G-Wagon. This G550 is rated at 18 miles to the gallon. This week, the Topher and I combined, we put 200 miles on this. Did you guys see that move up there? Nice. And we've been getting about 15 miles to the gallon. So in colder weather with some spirited driving sections, obviously, this has been a little bit less efficient. And just the fact that it is, I mean, let's be honest, a rolling brick. You know, it's never going to be efficient. A car shaped like this is never, ever going to be efficient. Though they have tried, I think, by fitting these really silly little mirrors to it. And they actually do get the job done. I can see everything I need to out of them, but for some reason in my head, G-Wagons have like big square mirrors, and maybe they never have. Like, I pictured like the mirrors that are on that van right there. I'm not really a G Wagon expert, but I do like them. I do like driving them. One of the option packages on this G550 does get us massaging seats, but honestly, even outside of the massaging factor of these, they are decently comfortable. A lot of our adjustments do exist in the infotainment, but all of your basics obviously are physical buttons here on the door panel. All right, we're gonna chill out here behind this Chevy Uplander. That's a pretty rare thing to see these days. And let's talk about ergonomics in here. Well, one of my favorite things about this vehicle, because the seating position is fantastic. You can see everything out of this. The only area you can't see super well of is out of the back window, just because of the spare wheel does take up about 40% of that view. But otherwise, seating position, the way these door panels are in here, very, very easy to see out of and easy to drive comfortably. You can kind of rest your arm here up on the door panel, drive this thing like so. Classic Lexus GX, classic Land Cruiser style, classic G Wagon style, I suppose. But I love the dimensions of this G550 as well, because like I said earlier, it's not really as big as you may think. You can see everything over the hood. You can see immediately right out of this door, I mean right down to the ground. Parking it is very easily. Placing this G Wagon is very easy as well. And it makes sense how a lot of the LA celebrities and people have great success driving these, because honestly, they're pretty easy. They're easy to drive. I mean, there's nothing about this visibility or maneuverability wise that is challenging whatsoever. This Inline-6 is revved just under 2,000 RPM here at highway speeds. It's whisper quiet. Obviously, there is still wind noise, but I think their efforts have been successful here with putting that little front roof spoiler to mitigate some of this wind noise. We do have cruise control on this G550, very easy to use. We have steering assist. I mean, all of the drive aids that you would expect we have here. Actually lets you go quite a ways without warning you to put your hands on the wheel. Honestly, we should see if we can make some noise under the under the bridges over here with our side pipes if we have the opportunity. Really nice heft to these paddle shifters, which is something I don't think I've ever said before. Beautifully smooth downshifts. I mean, you don't feel them at all. Ooh, very quiet window motors. Probably because these doors weigh 300 pounds. There's no room for the sound to get through. Yeah, I mean, inline-6 noise. Quite a bit more than I was expecting, to be honest. But I think it's nice that, you know, in a world where AMG Line packages are just lost. I mean, every Mercedes now, it seems like, has some extent of an AMG package. It's cool that on this G550 you do actually get a different exhaust system. Like, that's an incentive to spec an AMG Line package on a G550. Obviously, I would probably just opt for the G63, because if you're getting a G Wagon, price is probably no object. So you can spend the extra 50 grand. But at the same time, I mean, if it doesn't really matter to you, why waste the money? And invest the other $50,000 in something else and, you know, buy more paintings for your house or something. All right, as we get into town here, let's test out this Burmester, or Burmester, as the Topher says. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to say it, but let's get this going. Remember, guys, this is a standard option. Every G550 gets this Burmester. Good punches from this base. We are livening up. We are livening up the Whole Foods parking lot, and my goodness, what do we have here? What year is that? It's so funny. That's probably 20 years old, and it looks identical to this. We'll park near him. We'll try and shoehorn this into this spot. I don't actually need anything at the store today, but just wanted to show you guys spacing in a parking spot because of what I think is a misconception of the size of a G Wagon. So we'll get this in here. Parking cameras do an excellent job. Parking sensors there. There you go. Push button parking brake, which is a bit backwards because you push it in. But, I mean, otherwise, we fit in this spot just fine, and this gives me another excuse to open the doors. Door handle's a little bit awkward because it sits down kind of low, so you kind of have to squeeze next to your leg to get to it. It would be better probably if it was up there, perhaps. Stepping out of this. Oh yeah. Yeah, plenty of room here. Yeah, plenty of spacing all around. You can get in and out of this with no problem. Door can open up all the way here next to this BMW. Cool. All right. Let's get out of here. Wow, a Ford EcoSport with a spare tire. Very rare base model moment there. Hey, I've got a base model too. Base model gang. Oh, okay. Make way for the pedestrian. I love the kind of subtle turbo whistle you get there from the 3-liter. That's cool. Auto stop start is engaged right now, and in cars that have a mild hybrid system, it really doesn't matter to me too much because transitions are so smooth. Obviously, the story is no different here with this G550. As we get into town, we are not going to venture into the parking structure. A little bit worried about the height of this, and I don't want to put myself into generational debt by scraping the roof off of a $181,000 SUV. So we're going to end actually in one of the really nice neighborhoods up here, probably right around where we ended that Bronco Raptor video last summer. But you guys know, I showed you maneuverability there in the grocery store parking lot, so we don't need to wind up the parking structure today.
Caution, pothole.
Ah. There's a lot of those. Actually, that reminds me, we haven't really talked too much about the ride quality in this, which is fantastic. Even on these 20-inch wheels, I mean, I say even on these 20-inch wheels, like a 20-inch wheel is big these days. I think these wheels look fantastic. They're the perfect size. Ride quality is great. It's definitely not like soft and squishy like you would get in a GLS. It's a little bit on the firmer side, but it's still comfortable. And it just kind of elevates the confidence in driving this G Wagon. Another reason I love this car is on this super narrow road, I am very confident in my own lane. I mean, I can pass all these people. There's a guy in a Miata with his roof down. Yes! Oh my gosh, Dr. Dre is in front of us. So I suppose today's conclusion is this still feels like a G Wagon. That's a good thing. The Inline-6 is not sacrilege. If anything, it just smooths the experience out. Still makes a decent noise. Ride quality is great. Everything in here is easy to use. Sound system is good. I like opening and closing the doors. Oh, I've had a good few days in this. Where did I end that Bronco Raptor video? Love the quickness of the steering. I think it was right here. Yeah, it totally was. All right. All right, guys. Well, this is going to wrap it up. Good to know that the G Wagon is still the G Wagon. So this confirms that today. Let me know in the comments, though, of course, if you have any questions, especially pertaining maybe to the Inline-6 or any of the other changes that they have made for 2025. But this will wrap it up for me today with this new G550. Let's get this parked up in front of a house that a G Wagon owner probably would own. And that'll do it for us today as the Inline-6 shuts off before the car is in park. Put the parking brake on. Turn it off. Operate this door one last time. Love it. Alrighty, guys. Well, that is gonna be it, as I've said like probably 10 times at this point. I like this thing. I know a lot of people think that they're douche cars, but I mean, it just kind of is what it is. And I really, really respect that, you know, after all these years, Mercedes has not gone too far from the roots of the G. So cool. All right, well, that'll wrap it up for us today. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.